Hello and welcome to the Sky Sports Golf Podcast presented by Callaway and presented today from Royal Porthcawl, where right on cue the sunshine has come out ahead of the final major of the year, the AIG Women's Open, and delighted to say alongside me a Women's Open champion, Karen Stupples. Stubbs, how are you?
I'm doing very well and I'm very happy about this sunshine because it wasn't like this a few hours ago.
Hence why, for those watching this podcast, you're in multiple layers. We've lost you to Florida now.
I'm so soft. It's okay. I've given into it.
At least you've accepted it.
Yeah.
We're going to be speaking later on the podcast to Padraig Harrington, fresh off becoming a major champion at Sunningdale. And it's 21 years since you did the same. Does it feel like 21 years ago?
Not one bit, but I still have to pinch myself to make sure that it was real because so many things happened that week that seemed so surreal to me that it was actually me that had my hands on the trophy that is now an Open champion. I mean, I would never have thought so growing up. You always dream of it, but then when it happens, it's very surreal.
We were chatting before we started the podcast. You still pretty much remember every single one of those 64 shots from the final round.
Yeah, a lot of them were from having watched it on TV, but definitely as it came down the stretch when I started to get nervous, for sure, absolutely, every single one.
It must be one of the best feelings in the world, playing back towards that iconic oak tree outside that beautiful clubhouse, knowing you're about to become a major champion.
Never forget it. I didn't relax until I properly hit my second shot into 18, but having so many English flags lining the fairways, everybody's going, come on Karen, shouting my name all the way up the 18th hole was just fantastic. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it now because it brings back so many fantastic memories that it was at Sunningdale too, so close to my home, and to have family and friends and everybody there supporting me was just wonderful.
Well look, there may well be English flags flying even though we're in Wales for the Open champion this week, because we have to start by talking about Lottie Woad, and I think all of us bar Lottie Woad probably are pinching ourselves to believe what's happening at the moment, because to go from winning by 6 shots at the Irish Open to then almost winning at the Evian as an amateur, turn professional, win your first event as a professional at the Scottish Open, and she arrives here as the bookies' favourite. She's been a pro less than a fortnight and she's the bookies' favourite.
It doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I mean, I've known Lottie for a couple of years now. We both went to the same school, both from Florida, played at Florida State, so we have a little history there. I was an assistant captain of the Curtis Cup, which Lottie played on, so I got to see her in the team room as well. And what I've learned about Lottie over this course of this time is that when she sets her mind to something, she's very matter-of-fact about achieving it. Like if you told her you need 3 birdies to win, she'd be like, oh, okay, I'll just do it. It doesn't seem to faze her one bit, and she wants to know what she has to do, which is a rarity in golf, because everybody's like, oh, I don't watch the leaderboard, I don't want to see. She absolutely wants to know and thrives off that.
Do you know that scene in Good Will Hunting when it's the other Miles professor, not Robin Williams' character, Stellan Skarsgård's character, and he kind of holds the paper in his face and says, do you know how easy this is for me? That seems to be like Lottie Woad at the moment. She's almost saying to the rest of the golfing world, do you know how easy this is? I just rock up and win tournaments. She takes it all in her stride, and it's almost her. It's how unflappable and unfazed she is by it all, which is the most remarkable thing.
Well, and you've seen it here. Like, you've seen her go through the media centre. You've seen her come out and talk to everybody. And she's the same Lottie that she was, a year ago. And I don't see that ever changing in her. So down to earth, great family behind her, supporting her 100%. And it's just amazing how easy she makes it look. And yet, when you watch it, just looks normal to her, and it looks, and you sign the scorecard, next thing you know it's a 65, a 64, whatever the number is, and you're like, blimey, how did that happen? But it happened. As
Stubbs says, she has just done the media rounds, that included speaking to us, and this is what Lottie Woad had to say. Alongside me, a player who has only been a professional for a fortnight, but is the bookies' favourite this week at the Women's Open. Lottie, that must sound surreal when you hear that.
I mean, I don't really take much notice of that or look at that, but obviously playing well, and but there's so many good players, so I don't think you can really feel like the favourite going into it.
For those that don't know, win in Ireland, third at the Evian after a final round 64, both of those as an amateur, then your first tournament as a professional last week, the Scottish Open, you win again. So first, third, first. Are you having to pinch yourself at, what these last 3 weeks have been like?
I mean, I don't think you can expect to go on a run like that, especially your first pro event. You can't expect, I mean, I could hope to win it, but, you can't expect to win it. But just trying to keep the momentum going really is the plan.
Do you find it a bit odd that, Nelly Korda has been in that press conference room today and 3 of the questions were all about Lottie Woad? Do you find that all a bit weird?
I know she probably found that a bit weird too, but yeah, I mean, I got to play with her in Scotland and Charley, which was great. Obviously, two people I've looked up to, so it was really fun to play 2 days with them.
I think what most people are amazed by is how sort of unfazed you seem by it all in these last few weeks. Has that always been your sort of demeanour?
I mean, I've tried to, do that. I don't think it always has, but I think over the last few years I've gotten better at it, played in these bigger events and kind of got more used to it. And I just, realised that I play a lot better when I'm kind of, neutral and just going about my business, really.
And obviously, as I said, last major, that final round 64 at the Evian, and almost looked as if you were going to win the tournament at one stage. Was being in the heat of a major championship, did it feel any different to some of the other tournaments you've been involved in?
I'm not sure. I mean, that Sunday I wasn't, I was playing for other things too. Obviously, I was playing for my card, so wasn't too nervous about the major. I mean, I started in like 20th, kind of going into final round, so it was a bit far-fetched, to get the win, and kind of knew after halfway, like, oh, if I don't win, I'll get my card. So I was kind of pretty chill.
You mentioned obviously, you were just trying to get your card at that stage. The day that we get our very first paycheck is the day that all of us remember for various different reasons. So now you have got your first paycheck. What did that feel like?
I mean, I haven't had it yet, but it will feel good, yeah. I need to buy a car in America. So
okay, have you got a car in mind?
No, I don't know.
So that's what the first paycheck's going on, your first car.
Yeah.
Just how do you manage to keep your feet in the ground and just not get carried away with how quickly it's all happening?
I think that can help with it, going from event to event. There's not really much time to think about it. Kind of just moving on to the next and focusing on this week. It's obviously a big week. So I think after this week, I've got a week before I go back to the US. So I'll probably reflect on it a little bit.
And I know you played here about a month ago, is that right? And you got it in lovely, benign conditions. Yeah. But this is a proper links golf course, this, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'll be a great test. There's definitely some strong holes on both nines, particularly the back nine. So, the best player will definitely win.
I just have to say, finally, I've got two young daughters. On Sunday, we watched you win the Scottish Open, then we flicked over, watched the Lionesses defend their Euros title. Incredible day for English golf and for young girls aspiring to be sports people. Are you aware that you are sort of already a role model at the age of 21 to young girls? And does that sound a bit odd to you?
Yeah, not really. It still feels weird doing autographs, but I mean, yeah, it's really cool that, some people do look up to me.
Did you watch the Lionesses yourself, or were you too busy celebrating?
We were in the car. We listened to it on the radio, driving down to Wales.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Listen, have a great week. Best of luck. And hope it all goes well. Lottie Woad, winner in Scotland last week. Already a winner as a professional. And as I said, the bookies' favourite this week at Royal Porthcawl. And Stups, everybody who's just listened or watched that can see, it's just remarkable how she is taking this all in her stride. Mm-hmm. What is the most remarkable part about her actual game? What is it that's separating her from the rest at the moment?
I think it's the ability to produce shots when it absolutely matters. I know everybody can talk about the technicalities, how good she is with the wedges, how good she is with the putting, but she produces shots when she has to. That's an intangible that you can't teach, no matter how good a coach you have, or no matter how much you train your brain mentally. You either have it or you don't, and she has it. I mean, we saw it at the Augusta National Women's Amateur when she went ahead and made those putts coming down the stretch when she absolutely had to, just knock them right in the hole, and knew that she had to make them.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest part. She wants to know what she has to do, and she's not afraid at the moment.
Yeah. Are we getting carried away? Do we have to sort of, or because it's very tempting to, isn't it?
Do you know what?
She's going to be a 12-time major champion because of how quickly and seamlessly, easily it's happened.
I think if she loves the game.
Yeah.
She loves the challenge. She loves setting goals for herself, and she loves achieving her goals. She is super competitive with herself, almost to a point of not caring what anybody else does around her, which sets herself up to be in a really good position to achieve those things. I mean, I'm insanely proud that we have an English player that has the potential to be the world number one. I say that in all honesty. I really feel deep down that she has that potential to be just an absolute world beater. And English golf has produced this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it comes from her and her family, but it's amazing to think.
And do you know what? She's obviously 21 years of age, which actually in women's golf terms is almost, not getting on a bit, but, Lydia Ko, who'll be joining us a bit later, was a 2-time major champion by the age of 19. And obviously Charley Hull was playing on Solheim Cup teams when she was, 15?
Yeah.
So, but she's done it a different way, Lottie.
Yes.
She's decided to focus on her education, and kind of hats off her for doing that.
I think maybe there's a little bit of a late bloomer to that. I think when she went in to play golf at Florida State, she was like ranked over 1,000 in the women's golf amateur rankings. Like she wasn't really anybody that was too much on people's radar.
Yeah.
She went into it during COVID. You know, everything was all a little bit quiet. Nobody really knew of Lottie, but she really kind of applied herself during her time there at Florida State. And I think that as a player who also went over to college in America, it really allows you an opportunity to blossom and really hone your craft, practice those short game stuff, make yourself a well-rounded, complete player with a great backing at home with her home coaches who she has never lost touch with. She's kept in touch with everybody and that whole system that got her to that point. It's just been a steady rise and to where she is. Augusta National was a huge moment for her, and I think for women's golf in general, and for putting women's golf in England on the map again.
Yeah.
And she's just taken it all in her stride.
As I was saying to her, you know, on Sunday, we watched the conclusion of that Scottish Open. I got two young girls, 11 and 9. We then flicked over and watched the Lionesses win the Euros.
Mm-hmm.
And for young girls in this country, I mean, talk about role models to have.
Yeah.
The Lionesses, but also, and this must sound so weird to Lottie when she's been told at 21, having been a professional less than a fortnight, you're an inspiration to young girls, but she will be.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't think you can underestimate how important that is because, you know, golf, you know, it's not really a trendy sport. Or, you know, people don't see it as trendy. I mean, football certainly is. You can go, you work out, you look fit, everything's great. Golf's not really seen that way. But she adds an element of professionalism and class that players can aspire to, something that you can go into and think, if I might not be a Lottie Woad, but I can certainly get into the golf industry and look at all the money that's on offer.
Yeah.
It gives you a future, some place where you can earn a living, that you can be your own boss. You don't have to earn it from anybody. What you put in, you get out with golf. You don't have to be part of a team. And I think that's a huge appeal to a lot of people. But Lottie does it with a very genuine quality. You know, when you speak to her, you can see that genuineness that she has. She's almost shy about her abilities. So it's good that you don't have to be outwardly Instagram famous. You can go ahead and play golf and be very successful.
Before Lottie, the trailblazer, obviously, for English women's golf for over a decade now, for 12 years, has been Charley Hull. And she arrives here again with, you know, everybody, I think, hoping that she can get that first major. In those 12 years that she's been, and as I said, we have to remind ourselves how young she was when she burst on the scene. She's won 7 times worldwide. Does she not win enough, Charley, given the talent she has?
I think it's harsh to say it, but I think everybody expects so much of her that, yes, I mean, the talent is there for her to win multiple times, year after year, be a multiple major winner. I mean, we saw how good she can be. And I think knowing Charley as I do, there are things that get in her way a little bit. I mean, we know that she has ADHD. Well, if ADD is one of those too. Yeah. But either way, she has that diagnosis, which I know from my own personal experience how difficult it can be to manage that and manage the focus and the concentration and the impulsiveness that comes with it at times as well. Yeah. So I think that kind of, as much as it is a help, because people with ADD play fabulous golf because they're able to jump from area to area to area and switch in and switch out of concentration and focus. Sometimes it doesn't work that easily, and I think that sometimes happens with Charley. Yeah. And so I have a lot of sympathy with her because I know how good she is, but I also know it's also a little bit harder for her at times.
Is she almost, because of Lottie's sudden rise to stardom, is it a good thing maybe for Charley that she's almost right, not under the radar, but a little bit, not as many eyeballs on her as there usually are this time?
I think so, in a lot of ways. Although I do think that Charley again takes all that in her stride.
Yeah,
I don't think it really phases her. I think she, you know, to a certain extent, she's insanely good for the golf world. Like I can't think of a better person to want to root for or to be supportive of when you're watching women's golf, because it's something a little different. Yeah. She brings a different quality to it. Like she's everybody.
Yeah, and she's fun to watch.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's swashbuckling. She's going to go for it. She's going to take on that shot when she absolutely has to, and it's fun. And I think women's golf needs that. It doesn't need everybody all looking the same, doing the same kind of stuff. I think women's golf needs characters. She's definitely a character. Oh, so good for the game.
She's definitely a character. And look, at the start of this year, she was in some great form, and it seemed to just knocking off top 10 finish after top 10 finish. The form has dipped a little bit recently. I think she's fallen to 20th in the world now, which is the lowest she's been this year. had to withdraw before the Evian as well with illness. Decent finish in Scotland last week. So, you know, it seems as if she sort of figured out links golf now as well.
She always hated it, really.
Yeah.
Growing up at Woburn, she liked seeing a tree-line golf course because it really kind of shapes your view of how you play shots. Playing links golf is an acquired taste, I think, for a lot of people. And sometimes you just have to realise that you just have to put the yardage book away, just play some shots and trust your feel and gut instincts. And of course, she's got a lot of that. Playing the Scottish before coming here, I think, is huge. I think it's huge for her. I think that she will relish those experiences because now she's here, she doesn't have to work quite so hard to hit the shot. She knows about the little knockdown shots. She's been playing them for a week.
Yeah.
Windy conditions, she'll know that. She'll know having to play golf in a rain suit again. She'll understand all that, you know, the timing and how you can't always go after everything quite as hard. You have to play 3/4 shots more often. So I think she'll settle in quicker because of it, and it wouldn't surprise me to see her play well.
Charley, obviously, the backbone stops of so many Solheim Cup teams over the last decade. That's what Leona Maguire has become now as well. And Leona, she's just started to trend nicely at just the right time. T16 in Scotland, she was 7th at the Evian and a top 20 finish as well at the PGA Championship when conditions were tough. And when they were at their toughest, that seemed to be when she came to the fore. She likes it tough.
She does. She's such a gritty player. And I think that's what people think about when you think of Leona Maguire. You think about all those Solheim Cup victories that she has. It's because of the grittiness and the determination that she has when she's on the golf course. She doesn't hit the ball as far as a lot of these players. She has hybrids all the way down to 6 hybrids. She starts at a 7-iron is the club in her bag, but she can hit those hybrids.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous how good she is. But she knows her game and she knows what she has to do. It's whether she's going to make those putts. And I think she's just started to look like the Leona of a Solheim Cup over those putts.
It's not too bad at the moment weather-wise. There's a little bit of a breeze. As I said, the sun was out a few moments ago. Earlier on today, we had some sideways rain. And if people remember the Senior Open here 2 years ago, it was biblical. I mean, it was horrible.
Yep.
Does Leona Maguire, in a perverse kind of way, almost want it to... The grottier it gets, the better chance it gives her?
No question. Plus, this golf course, I think, kind of suits her.
Yeah.
I don't think this course is about hitting the drive down there as far as you can. You've got to stay out of those bunkers. I mean, I've just had a quick browse around the golf course, looking through the yardages and seeing that those bunkers are very strategically placed. You don't have to hit through past them. Sometimes lay up short of those bunkers, having a longer shot into the green is going to be beneficial. Who's good at those longer shots? Leona Maguire. And I think that when the conditions are tough, she's used to getting up and down, making the putts when she has to, being determined, not giving up on any shot, and that's her.
Yeah, and look, we all know in the Solheim Cup, we've seen it so many times now, she's just a killer when it comes to match play. Why can't she translate that into 72-hole stroke play? Is it the length thing? Is it the fact that she's giving up, 30 yards off the tee to some of these players?
Sometimes. Sometimes. I mean, I've seen her, have victories.
Yeah.
It does definitely help to hit the ball a long way in America on some courses.
Yeah.
I think going head-to-head against somebody kind of gives her a good advantage because she's very feisty in that situation, very steely when it comes to her decisions. She's super smart as well when it comes to sort of, particularly with her partner about whether she should putt out, whether they should, all that kind of stuff. It's very. She's going to make a fantastic captain one day of a Solheim Cup, but I don't know. It's just hard. She's just been beaten a couple of times.
Yeah.
But she needs to get a little bit more consistency to her game, I think. And then if she can keep putting in some top 10 finishes, then you'll see her win a few more times.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that. Let's come on to Nelly Korda. World number 1. I mean, it seems surreal to say that she's without a win this year, 2025, given what she won 5 tournaments in a row, spring of last year. November, her last win. Coming off a 5th place finish at the Scottish Open, but was kind of a non-factor at the Evian. Are you surprised that she hasn't been up near the pointy end of leaderboards more this year?
It is always a surprise when she's not at the very, very, very top, given what she did last year. And it's funny because when you look at the game and you look at the stats and you try and figure out why, what is that little piece of the puzzle that's missing? Because there has to be a little something. And I can't put my finger on it except that she has a bad hold here and there. And then that can lead to one bad round. And when I say a bad round, just 72, even 73 sometimes, just at the wrong time. Whereas a 68 or a 69, and she would have won it.
Yeah.
So it's just a couple of bad shots leading to a couple of big numbers. over the course of one round
Yeah.
in 4. And that's what stopped her from winning, because if she had managed to have without that, she would have won.
Yeah.
It's that fine of a line.
Do we hold her to perhaps slightly unfair standards, I always think this a bit with Rory. Sometimes everyone's like, oh, Rory McIlroy's a choker, he's a buckler. It's like, here's a guy who's been at the top of the game for 15 years and won, multiple times, but he almost gets held to a higher standard because post-Tiger he was supposed to be the poster boy for golf. Is it the same with Nelly? Are we holding her to too unfair a standard?
I think we crave a dominant figure in women's golf.
Yeah.
We crave that, certainly in the media, and I think for people watching, because you're either going to root for the favourite or you're going to root for the underdog. And there's no real room for parity in that. Like, golf is a very strange sport in so many ways. We love our favourites to win. Yeah. Everybody wants the favourite to win. So Nelly has been the favourite for certainly all of last year, and even through into this year. Yeah. And so to see her not win, it is very strange. And yes, we do hold her to high standards, and she holds herself to high standards. And I think that's something that she has to adjust to every single week that she tees it up, because she knows what everybody's expecting. And the longer you go through the year without her winning, the more the questions will rise. Yeah. Is this going to be a week? I personally think this week is a great week for Nelly. Followed her closely many times on the golf course, watched her game very closely. She's one of the best at that little 3/4 shot. I know her caddy Jason, if he signals me whatever club it is and then does this, it's going to be a little small one, I know it's going to be a great shot. So if he goes like 3 fingers and then a little this, it's a small 8-iron, and I'm like, she's going to stuff it, because she's so good with those little shots. And I feel more confident in her when she's hitting those 3/4 shots than when she's standing there full on trying to belt out a big one, which means here, a little bit of rain suit on, 3/4 shots. It could be a potent situation for her, and she's overdue. She played in Scotland. I think, again, the same as I said with Charley, she's acclimatised. I think it's a really great thing to play in Scotland before coming here for this. Yeah,
and when you look at that golf swing, you think, how can it possibly go wrong? I mean, it is just aesthetically, it is the golf swing you would teach anybody.
No question, it's perfect.
Yeah,
I don't know where you would say it's not.
Yeah.
So
we were out in the course earlier with Nelly as well, and she on the first hole she hit her drive into the bunker, hacked out sideways, whatever, but then raked her own bunker as well. And I said to her when she came out, I said, you're never too big a superstar to rake your own bunker. She says, I find it therapeutic, there. So there you go.
Zen moment.
The little Zen moment. Let's come on to the world number 2, Jeeno Thotikul. Unbelievably consistent. Like, it's just literally top 10 after top 10 after top 10. But she must feel like some majors have slipped through her fingers, none more so than the most recent one. I mean, that must have been a kick in the teeth. That finish was extraordinary. It
was crazy. I stood there by the side of the green watching it all unfold. And she had an opportunity to win in regular play. Didn't put the putt away, but I'm like, okay, here we go in the playoff. Yeah. And then when Grace hits it in the water, I thought, well, this is now Jeeno's. And everybody around the green, all the Amundi Evian Championship people were there, Rolex people were there. Everybody who was anybody was around that green watching. They're like, oh, Jeeno's.
The engraver had practically started
it. And I'm like, this is done deal. But then when Grace goes and chips in, I'm like, oh crikey! Now Jeeno had to go make a great putt. Yeah. Just to go back for another hole, and then Grace makes another eagle. Yeah. I mean, it was just almost ripped from Jeeno's hands in so many ways. But I always look at the fact that she could have polished it off. And I think as a player, you have to look to that fact that she just got beaten. And that's all there is to it. However, she's too talented a player to not have major championships on her resume. Yeah. And she's so young. There's so much time for her. Just across the board, her game is tremendous. Interesting to see how she plays this week. I don't know how I feel about her playing links golf. Yeah. She's going to have to make a few adjustments, I think, particularly if it gets windy, which I think I don't think you can ever have a non-windy day here.
No, you can't.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And she will have to tell herself that, in that playoff at the Evian, she went birdie in the playoff. Yep. Her final round was a final round 67, where I think she hit 13 of 15 fairways, 16 of 18 greens in regulation. This was not a tournament that she threw away. No. But I suppose half the trick is telling yourself that. Like, on any other day, the chips could have fallen a different way.
Of course.
And not dwelling on... but that must be so difficult to do.
It is, but she's about as good as they come when you look at that. I mean, I watched her as she walked off the green. Like, she was smiles and she was okay. Like, it didn't look like her heart had been torn out or anything. She looked like she was just going to keep moving forward, and she accepted the fact that there's going to be other opportunities. And I think when you're young, you can do that. But she knows that there's going to be so many other opportunities for her to go ahead and win majors, that there's no panic yet. There's no urgency to her. And I think that's why she's so great, is because she's not trying to force anything just yet. She's just playing golf.
Just playing golf. And look, and I'll tell you what, somebody else who does that, and you spoke about how the game needs characters. We're out in the course earlier, we grabbed a word with Angel Yin. She's a great character. And her major finishes this year, she's gone 13th, 9th, 6th, 5th. So she's trending in that direction. And I mean, she's great fun, Angel. And actually, I do remember you when we had you on the podcast after the US Open, you said just keep an eye out for Angel Yin, because she's just consistently knocking on the doors when it comes to these majors.
She's another player who has toned things down a little bit. She was really long off the tee when she first came out on tour, just used to bomb it everywhere. And in the last year or so, she's kind of toned it down. Like she seems to be playing a little bit more within herself, gaining a little bit more consistency. And she's one of the best putters that I've ever seen in these last few years. Like when she's standing over a putt, I'm thinking more often than not she's going to make it. Yeah. She has great rhythm and great timing. Here on a links course, you hope the wind doesn't interfere with that rhythm and timing too much, because it can sometimes do that. But insanely talented across the board. That's from such a young age. Yeah, absolutely. Well, as I said, we were out in the course earlier watching Angel for a few holes. Was sort of flighting her ball beautifully in that wind. Had a quick word with her. This is what she had to say. Angel, what do you make of this place? Proper links golf?
Yeah, proper links. We're right on the beach, so it's great. I heard the weather can get pretty diabolical, but we'll see how it goes. What do you think of the challenge of links? Because, I mean, it's so different to what you're playing week in, week out in the LPGA Tour. I mean, obviously hitting the fairways, which is very common for every golf course, but more so important here. When you get into the bunkers, is really penalizing. And so that's the main choice when you're trying to figure out the wind and then trying to see where the small bits of fairway there is to hit. Because it's not like St. Andrews wide. No. So it's pretty challenging. You mentioned the weather. I don't know if you've looked at footage from the Senior Open from a couple of years ago. That was like biblical. So biblical because it was diabolical. But on this hole, Jeff, who caddied for Colin Montgomery, said there was a dead fish in like the bunkers over there in the middle of because it just flew over. And then we were actually talking about this because it was pretty magical for that fish for like the 5 seconds it was in the air. Right? It was flying. So biblical, it was a miracle. Look, let's talk about your major form. This year you've gone 13th, 9th, 6th, 5th, so trending upwards the entire time. You seem to have worked out the knack of just peaking for these 5 weeks a year. Yeah, I've only been playing the majors, so I think I've been pretty rested up, but we'll see. This is pretty tough. It's even more tough than Evian because Evian weather is perfect and the course is tough, but here the weather could be so unpredictable. Yeah. Well, off the back of that form and the fact you finished top 10 in this tournament 2 years in a row as well, you must fancy your chances this week. Maybe this could be a special week in Wales because I've never been here, so this could be it. Hope it's a better week for you than it was for that fish. Yeah. Well, it was a miracle, so hopefully a miracle happens to me. Fingers crossed for 2 miracles. Yeah, thanks, Angel. Thank you. Yeah, that was Angel Yin out in the course a bit earlier, and I've just spotted out of the corner of my eye who's going to seamlessly join us now, the defending champion. Lydia, come and sit down here next to Karen. I've reserved this little spot for you. You warmed it up for me. I have, just a little bit. Weather. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How nice rocking up as the defending champ.
Pretty weird to hear that. This is probably the major that I thought I had the least chance of winning. But yeah, it's weird always seeing pictures of yourself, on the walls and player dining. But it also takes me back to the great week that I had at St. Andrews.
Yeah. Why would you say that this would be your least chance of winning?
It takes a lot of creativity, patience, and in ways you also need to be lucky with the draw too, and I felt like it's hard to have all of those things going in my favor, and I had one of the best weeks of my life winning the gold in Paris, so to think that 2 weeks later I was going to win at the home of golf, it was like too good to be true. So but apparently the too good to be true happened, and I felt like walking Cinderella really.
As you say as well, Lydia, to do it at the home of golf, to make that walk up the 18th at the old course, that just even talking about it now must give you goosebumps.
Yeah, you know, I played there as a 16-year-old when Stacy won, and at that time, I think I was honestly too young to appreciate the history, you know, of the town itself outside of just the golf course. And you know, last year, now that I'm a little bit more grown up, you know, I got to just appreciate, you know, everything about the place, and you know, I had a lot of family members there, so we just got to enjoy, you know, the golf course, you know, just walking around St. Andrews, going to local restaurants, and you know, there's, you know, the rotation to come back to St. Andrews doesn't come very
No.
often, so there's only a very small group of players that have won there, and to now be one of them is really cool, and you know, be you know, it's I feel like I'm part of like a cool kids club, really. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the Olympics as well. Xander Schauffele was saying a few weeks ago when he was at Royal Porthcawl, he doesn't even know where his gold medal is anymore. He says, what am I going to do? Just put it out and just remind myself of how brilliant I am all the time. Now, the Olympics, for those that don't know, golf has been back in the Olympic schedule 3 times, and you've completed the set. You've got one of each. You've got a gold, silver, and a bronze. So where are your Olympic medals?
2 of them are in a safe, but then the safe, someone can walk away with the safe. So I don't really know if it's a very safe safe. And then one is just actually alongside a lot of my other trophies. But yeah, I honestly hadn't seen the gold medal until I took it to. I played U2 golf for the first time a few weeks ago, so I took it there.
Nice.
But yeah, you know, you kind of forget about it, but it will be part of me forever. And I already have it tattooed, you know, of the 3 cities that I won the medals. But the Olympics have been, you know, very you know, kind to me. And I think there might be a player that wins 2 golds, but I'm not really sure if anyone's going to win a gold, silver, and a bronze. So
Well, also, next time there's going to be this sort of mixed
yes,
team event as
yes,
well.
yeah.
So, you know, Ryan Fox and Lydia Ko, watch out.
I think we both said we're probably not going to make it to LA, but you know, obviously, only time will tell about that one. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited that they're going to have that mixed team format. I think it's going to bring a little bit more players that maybe aren't necessarily don't have as high of a chance, you know, in the individual match, kind of get together, and you know, just having different formats is always exciting and great for the growth of the game. But yeah, the Olympics, yeah, obviously I'm very lucky in the sense of I'm in the generation where the Olympics is there. You know,
Yeah.
some of the, you know, world's best just wasn't, the Olympics didn't exist during their time. So for me to have that and be kind of in that era is really exciting.
When little Lydia, growing up, when you first started playing golf, did you ever imagine yourself in this position, winning Open at St Andrews, winning Olympic gold medal, being in the LPGA and World Golf Hall of Fame? Did you ever imagine that to be something that was in your future?
No way. Yeah, no. Like I remember, we had like a few golf magazines, and then you know I remember looking at, you know, the swing sequences of like Julieta Granada and, you know, Paula and people like yourself, and no, where I was like, wow, I really want to be like them, and you know, but I was just that kid that was skipping around the fairways, you know, having a Garfield driver head cover, and little did I know that I'd be in this position today. And you know, obviously I'm very grateful for the things that have happened in my career, and I think the lows have, the highs, but especially the lows, have made me to become the player I am today.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that was probably some of the most, you know, proudest moments of just overcoming some of the doubts that I had in my own mind.
Just a kind of extension to that, you know, there's a lot of talk about Lottie Woad this week, and I'm sure you probably asked lots of questions about Lottie in the press conference just now as well. She's 21 years of age. She's bursting the scene. She's the bookies' favourite this week. By the age of 21, you're already a 2-time major champion. So, you know, if you were to sort of impart some advice to Lottie about it all suddenly happening to you so fast, what would that advice be?
I think in some sense she's obviously come on to the LPGA a few years older than some of us. You know, she's played in some of the most pressure positions in collegiate golf, and you know, she's, you know, just with her ranking and everything, she's been exposed to these kind of majors even before she was a rookie, and
Yeah.
so I think she has a bit more experience than what people think. Obviously, being a full-time player, you know, on the LPGA is a lot more difficult. But she's kind of done well in pretty much every kind of environment that I believe she's going to do well. And she had really nothing to prove, and she's already won the first one. So yeah, it's exciting. It's great to have a player like her, but she seems to have a really calm demeanor about her when she's playing, and it's obviously going to be a strength. And I'm sure there's not that I wish anything bad. There's going to be times where it doesn't really go in your favor, and that's it's natural for everyone, and I'm sure that's going to happen to her maybe at some point. But I think with having that kind of demeanor that she has now, I think she'll be able to overcome it really fast, and just kind of stand tall and just kind of do her thing. But I'm excited to play alongside her this week. It's my first time playing with her, so it's going to be cool to see how to get things done. And I think it doesn't matter if I've played on tour for 12 years or I'm a rookie. There's always things that I can learn from other players, so hopefully I can snag a few tips without her intentionally giving it to me, and just enjoy it. And I think it's going to draw a pretty big crowd too.
I think you might be right. I think we've probably taken up enough of your time. Lydia, thank you so much.
You had to deal with me this long time. That's more.
No, not at all. It's a pleasure to have you. Have a great week. And as you said, there will be lots of eyes on yourself, Lilia, and Lottie playing the first couple of days together. So have a great defence.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
Watch the triple L, as I said.
The triple L's, yes, exactly. Cheers, Lydia. All the best. Thank you very much. I'm not going to embarrass her while she's still within earshot, but how lucky are we to have that lady as an ambassador for women's golf? She's just the best, isn't she?
She always has been.
Yeah.
And I think I've told this story many times, certainly on our air. I played with Lydia when she was 13. I played in Australia, and I was a pretty good golfer at the time, and Lydia was 13, and we went out and played. And everybody said to me, "Oh, you're playing with Lydia Ko. She's going to be fantastic." And I thought, come on, she's 13. How do we know?
Yeah.
How do we even know that? And I'm like, I've been playing some good golf. What are we even talking about here? And I went out and played, and we signed our scorecards. And I think I signed for like a 69 or whatever. She signed for a 67. And I'm like, she's beaten me by like 3 or 4 shots. How did this happen?
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. Her hybrids, her shots to the green. Like, she was hitting her hybrids in as close as I was hitting wedges. And it was just amazing what she could do around a golf course. And then just a couple of years after that, she's winning as an amateur on the LPGA Tour. And I think that people forget how good she was. And by the way, when she talked about needing creativity to play links golf, she's probably the most creative player that I have ever witnessed on a golf course. So that really struck me as being quite strange, because she's as creative as they come. Like, the short game skills, like, she visualizes shots better than anybody else. She has a great way to see the shot and just plays it. Like, Jack Nicklaus used to say, used to paint the picture, right? He used to paint the picture of it. I mean, she's like a Rembrandt with her painting, because it's just the most magnificent mind for golf.
And you know what, we've spoken so much today about Lottie, and you have to sort of pinch yourself to remember how quickly it all came to Lydia at such a young age. And then she did have that dip, and you thought, oh, are we really going to see Lydia go back to her best again? And then had that incredible summer last year, and there was such an outpouring of goodwill and love for her last summer, because she is one of the greats of the game. And look, no one knows what lies in Lottie Woad's future, but she may well have that dip as well, and hopefully she can come out the other side. That takes real resilience to come back out the other side.
Oh, it does, and I think, again, that gave us really nice insight into the way Lydia's mind works, because we don't often have the opportunity to sit down and have these conversations and be able to glean little nuggets of information like that from her, that she realised that there was going to be a dip. But also what I took from it was that she found it pretty easy when she started out. Like, everything came pretty easy, and I think that the assumption was there that everything was going to be easy. Changing a caddy was going to be easy, and changing golf clubs was going to be easy. Changing your swing was going to be easy, but it wasn't. But she was able to come back out the other end of it as somebody who has learned and grown. And you could hear her there at the end talking about Lottie. She still wants to improve. She's still got room for growth, which is remarkable considering she's achieved everything that you could possibly achieve, pretty much. Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. And as she was saying, the triple L's, Lilia Vu, that is, Lydia Ko and Lottie Woad, there will be big crowds following them the first 2 days here at Royal Porthcawl. That seems like the perfect little spot to take a break. On the other side of the break, I'll be speaking to Padraig Harrington about his Senior Open win at Sunningdale at the weekend. Welcome back to the Sky Sports Golf Podcast presented by Callaway and presented today from Royal Porthcawl ahead of the Women's Open here this week. I've popped into the media centre now, and it was here 2 years ago when the Senior Open was played. The weather, you may remember, was simply biblical. Padraig Harrington narrowly lost out in a playoff, but 2 years on, he has added the Senior Open to his glittering resume, and I'm delighted to say he joins me now. Padraig, thanks for your time, and a massive congratulations. Back-to-back senior majors, and what a club to have joined. Bob Charles, Gary Player, Tom Watson, Darren Clarke, and now Padraig Harrington, the only 5 men to have done the Open Senior Open double.
Yeah, it's really nice to be included in that group. At this stage, your golfing life, you are interested in your legacy. When you're a young man, you think it's all going to happen, but as you get to my age, you certainly like when you've done something that is going to last the test of time. And I was a little worried with the Senior Open. As I said, I had a couple of runners up at 5th place. And you never want to. We've seen this with Rory, obviously, for the 10 years trying to get across the line with the Masters. If you don't win it, all of a sudden it gets harder and harder. And the thing with the Champions Tours, there is a sweet spot of time. You play well in the Champions Tour up to about 56, 57, and then it gets a little harder. New guys are coming in, advantages that you have are being eroded. So yeah, I mightn't have been under pressure this year, but it could have been an issue.
Yeah, well, you say you're a little bit worried about it. Listeners will remember you being on the podcast a couple of months ago. I just want to remind them and you of this.
Sunningdale, absolutely one of the greatest golf courses in the world. 2 of the greatest golf courses in the world, to be honest. What a place, what a venue, fantastic. Basically, I would say this is the worst golf course you could put me on to try and win a Senior Open.
No, Padraig, no.
Yes, I love it. I love Sunningdale. I love everything about it. But everybody has a chance at Sunningdale.
But you did it anyway, Padraig. You went and won it anyway.
Yeah, you could argue I was playing it down a little bit, yes, but I would say there wasn't really any. There was a couple of advantages on 16 and 18. Obviously, I saw people were hitting in bunkers that I could carry, but everything else on the golf course, there was nothing there that kind of stood out that was a big advantage to me. Everybody could reach the par 5s, everybody could reach the 9th. Good few players could reach the 3rd, 11th the same. So yeah, look, there wasn't. I had to beat them old-fashioned way, just with good old tee to green golf. And I will say, when we turned up, the golf course had got some rain on the weekend and had softened up nicely, which was these guys. You've got to. The one thing I give up a lot against on the Champions Tour is accuracy off the tee. These guys are super accurate. They I'll often think I've had a great driving round in terms of accuracy. Might have hit 11 fairways out of 14, and I come in and in a field of 76, I'm 62nd. It's tough, and Sunningdale would normally suit that, but Sunningdale was a little softer than normal. So that really helped me. Softer around the green. So if you miss the green, it's tough when you get a golf course and you're trying to drive a par 4, and if you miss the fairway, it goes an extra 40 yards on the hard pan. It wasn't like that at Sunningdale. So it was set up as good as it could be for me. It did get faster on Sunday, but up to that, it was very, very, very playable. And it's interesting. They kept the greens soft. They kept the greens reasonably, you wouldn't say fast anyway. And yet the scoring, I know I got this finished up at 16, which isn't a huge number under par. Certainly if they could have got us a lot tighter to the 6, 7, 8 under par if they speeded up those greens.
Yeah, I have to say, watching it at home, it kind of felt from the moment you hit the front on Friday that it was serene progress from there. Did it feel as serene when you were the player hitting all the shots?
No. It's strange. I won the US Open and I was very comfortable with my ball striking, and I had a real hard time on the greens. Now, I'm sure I got the ball in the hole, but I felt terrible. This time round, I felt really poor, out of control with my swing. I was hitting a particularly bad shot. I was hitting a big hook at times, and I didn't know why I was hitting it. So I felt very uncomfortable off the tee and with some of my iron shots, but very comfortable around the greens and on the greens. So they were the exact opposite. I'm sure they looked the same on TV. I will say on Sunday, because I didn't I wasn't sure why I was hitting that particular bad shot. I ended up just purely being into getting the job done, into my focus. I wasn't standing there trying to do any swing technique or anything like that. It was just pure, okay, I've got to hit it down the fairway, do this, hit this shot. Tried to swing as smooth as I could just to keep it in control. But I look back at the TV of it, when I watched the coverage, I did look very focused on the TV. I looked into it. And so from my point of view, I'm kind of hoping for the rest of the year I can get the good ball striking, the good putting, and certainly try and maintain that routine and focus.
Look, you've done some very cool things in your long career, and you've won at some incredibly iconic places, but being able to hit your second shot towards that iconic oak tree in front of one of the greatest clubhouses in golf and then make that walk up the 18th on Sunningdale Old, that must be pretty special.
It was very special because at my age, we'd be chatting. I was often chatting with my caddy Ronan about. I didn't have regrets during my career, but when I look back at a venue where I finished runner up, if it's an iconic venue, I'm actually very disappointed now. I'd love to have won at all the European. I never won Wentworth. I know I lost the match play there in the final, but yeah, I dearly love to have won at Wentworth. I dearly love to have won at Crown Montana. Any of the iconic venues on the European tour. So winning at Sunningdale, again, it's an age thing. These things are very important as you get older. You're running out of time, and definitely, you couldn't find a better golf course, better venue to especially play a Champions Tour event. You could argue it's not a big enough footprint maybe for the younger pros. Who knows, in a couple of years when we have the dial back, maybe it would come back into vogue. But it's just a beautiful place to play, and to be a champion there. And they better put my picture up in the halfway house for those sausage rolls. That's as long as I get my picture up on the wall there. I see a picture of Bernard Langer from the 80s up there. I want my picture up on the wall in the halfway hut.
I think you're safe betting that will be up there before too long. Great halfway house, one of the greatest in golf. Look, Sunningdale is some course, so's Royal Porthcawl, where we are today. Mixed memories for you here because, as I mentioned, you lost out in the playoff at Porthcawl to Alex Checa a couple of years ago. But 30 years ago, you were part of the victorious GB&I Walker Cup side here, and in the Saturday foursomes, beat a certain T Woods.
Yeah, myself and Jody Flanagan, we were a constant partnership for Ireland, so we got paired up. It was a big day. He was playing with John Harris. When you look back at these things, it would seem like a logical partnership. You put the old experienced guy with the young buck, Tiger Woods. Probably with what we have on all the data we have now, it probably was not a good partnership. And after 3 or 4 holes, they were at each other. They weren't comfortable together. I can remember going up to sixth and myself and Jody nudging each other and going, "Look, they're not happy." But yeah, look, I don't know if we knew, if it's only with hindsight. We knew it was a big match at the time, and Tiger, and that kind of fell into the Ryder Cups as well. Every time anybody played against Tiger in the Ryder Cup, it was a no-lose situation for them. If they won the match, it was huge for the team. If they lost the match, that's what was expected. So I think people always wanted to get their chance against Tiger. They didn't say it out publicly like Stephen Ames back in the day. You kept your head down and went out there, yeah, and hoped it worked out. But yeah, that was one of those days. It was big for the team to try and beat, and we didn't know I didn't know who Tiger was really then. We hear, oh, this guy is good, but we certainly didn't realize how good he was this side of the water, and we certainly didn't realize. I don't think anybody could have imagined what he would have went on to at that stage. But yeah, beating him that day was a big part of a big boost for our team. And for me, with the Walker Cup I played, that was my third Walker Cup. To get a winning team was really special. It was good closure for me on my amateur career.
Just one final one, Padraig, sort of on the subject of Tiger. After his exploits at Portrush a couple of weeks ago, the inevitable comparisons between Scotty and Tiger are growing ever louder. Tiger obviously had the longevity, maintained his dominance for the best part of a decade plus. But are we now able to sort of say that what we're seeing from Scotty Scheffler is Tiger-esque?
In performance, absolutely. time will tell. Scotty could could have a longer career and outbeat Tiger and Jack. What's very interesting is, it's not 2 years ago that Rory gave him a putting lesson. Like, can you imagine giving somebody who you think is your competitor a putting lesson? As in, Scotty is. I say this with Tiger. Every single person when you came up against Tiger, you walked away feeling like, I can't do that. With Scotty, every single player looks and goes, why can't I do that? It's a different vibe. With Scotty is just relentless at being himself and doing his thing. Just relentless at it. It's startling how good, and it's a lesson for everybody. Just how good you can be if you just focus on what you're doing and do your thing and keep it very simple. I would suggest I probably have more swing thoughts on my practice session that in one day than he has had in his lifetime. He sticks to the one thing and it's really good. Uh, you know, right now, he's unbeatable in what he's doing, and how long he can sustain it is the thing. But it looks pretty simple. He doesn't look like he's injury prone. His lifestyle, it doesn't look like it's going to lead to any. But maybe these comments. The fact that he's not necessarily finding, but he plays a lot. So I think those comments are odd that he enjoys it for 2 minutes and it's back to the grind. He loves playing with his clubmates and friends when he's at home. So I think the comments don't add up to him personally, in terms of he seems to really like playing golf. He plays like, back in the day, Monty was probably, the best ball striker, the best player in Europe. And Monty didn't touch a club away from the tournament. Didn't do any practice whatsoever. Turned up late for the tournament, did no practice at the tournament and played. Tiger practiced like mad away from the tournaments, did nothing at the tournament. Scotty seems to play a lot away, so he does seem to really enjoy it. As that would be the only thing that, what's coming down the road. Well, if you looked at those words, that would be worrying. But actually, if you looked at the person, I actually think he does enjoy his golf and enjoy everything going on with it. And that would lead to a sustainable career. And if he keeps up like this for 10 years, we're not just talking about Tiger, we're talking about Jack's record.
Listen, Padraig, thanks so much for your time. As I said, Sunday was great to watch, and appreciate you chatting to us today.
Thank you. Thanks, Jamie.
Always great chatting to Padraig, a major championship winner on Sunningdale. Nice company to be in, obviously.
It's very special winning at Sunningdale. I mean, it's just a fabulous old golf course that really has stood the test of time. Just the design of it, everything about it just makes you think. I mean, you can't just stand there on the wallop driver everywhere. You have to really pay attention to what the golf course brings to you. And they had some pretty rough weather too a couple of times last week that you don't expect around Sunningdale. It's normally glorious.
And I tell you what, I always say this, but they broke the mold when they made Padraig Harrington. I mean, for somebody to still love the game as much as he does, and he's still trying to get faster and hit the ball further and further. Hats off to him. No
question. I think one of my biggest takeaways from sitting at home during COVID was watching his swing tips his swing videos, like in his backyard with the chipping and the pitching and stuff, and really taken aback by his just passion for the game still. Yeah. And well worthy of the World Golf Hall of Fame position. And I mean, what a role model for everybody. We talk about role models, but in terms of longevity and keeping a passion for golf alive, when so many players lose that because of the rigors of tournament play and the mental toll it takes on you, because ultimately golf is the ultimate unrequited love. Like as much as you want it to love you back, it always kicks you to the curb. But for him, there's been no kicking to the curb. Like he just keeps persevering, and now succeeding as a multiple major winner on the PGA Tour Champions. Yeah, pretty fantastic.
It's fantastic to watch. And I tell you what, Padraig Harrington, given that he's a golf sicko, would have loved what I did last Thursday as well. I don't like to talk about myself, Stups, as you know, on this podcast. But last Thursday, I did something pretty special, and it involves a course which is very close to your heart. You're a lifelong member of Royal Porthcawl.
Yes, and Princes.
And Princes. Mm-hmm. For me, Dale, just my favourite links course in England.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore it. Last Thursday, they had the inaugural Hagen 54. Now, you will know what this is. I'll explain to the viewers and the listeners. So, the story goes, 1920, Walter Hagen, the great Walter Hagen, playing in his very first Open Championship at Deal. Had never played on links turf before, was the first Open post-war, wanted to get used to links turf, had a local caddy. They teed off from the first at Deal, played out to the 11th, and Deal is your classic, out and back kind of links course. Spotted another course in the distance, Royal St George's, walked along the beach with the caddy, hopped the fence, played the 6th to the 13th at George's, spotted another course over the fence, Prince's, hopped the fence again, all 18 there, back over the fence, 14th round to the 5th at George's, back up the beach, hopped the fence again, and the 12th to the 18th at Deal, 54 holes in a day. To this day, the three courses, who have a wonderful relationship between them, play this triangular tournament between them called the Hagen Hoof. And for the first time this year, James Leah, who's the General Secretary at Royal Cinque Ports, set up the inaugural Hagen 54. So we played all 54 holes in a day, and it was just remarkable. I mean, three such special courses.
It's amazing because they really don't get the recognition that they deserve. Obviously, we see Royal St George's because it's on the courses that the Open Championships played.
Yeah.
But both Princes and Deal have hosted Opens as well.
Yeah.
And just amazing part of the world to go and play golf. And the fact that you're able to do it all in one day, I mean, high five to you, because my goodness, that's quite the feat, because that's a lot of walking.
I was feeling it on the Friday. I carried, by the way, the whole way as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No caddy?
Thank you. I'm the real hero of the day. Loads of people had
say.
caddies, loads of people had trolleys. I was carrying my own clubs.
Yep.
We had 36 holes in lovely, dry, benign conditions. Then the heavens opened, so I got, I think, like 8 holes of Deal, 9 holes of George's, and 1 more hole of Prince's. I got in like sideways rain. No waterproofs with me. No umbrella.
Did you at least make it to the hut at Deal?
Oh yeah, so they looked after us so well.
Okay,
there was hot food and drinks and beers and refreshment every 4 holes.
Perfect.
But that is a great halfway house.
It is. It's the best.
And the best thing about it is you pass it at the 9th and then you pass it again as you tee off the 12th.
There are many times that I've got to that hut and just stopped and said, I'll meet you when you come back round again.
That was when the rain was at its heaviest, and it was very tempting just to stay there, I have to say. But yeah, you're right, to have 3 championship courses back to back to back. And as I was saying to you earlier, the relationship between the 3 of them, like sometimes courses can be next door to each other and there's a bit of an uneasy relationship. They're 3 such friendly, welcoming courses. Even Royal St George's, people might think is a little bit sort of snooty and stuffy. It's not. It's so welcoming and friendly down there.
It's a funny, I haven't really had an awful lot to do at Royal St George's, but I think over the period of time, everything's kind of softened a little bit there, and it's become quite welcoming across the board.
Yeah.
But certainly Prince's, I remember growing up, I used to ride my bike down Sandwich Bay. Sometimes I'd stop off at Deal, practice at Deal, but I would often ride down to Sandwich Bay. I used to go and enjoy practicing there quite a bit. And I remember one time I was riding my bike down and I looked across and I saw Nick Faldo practicing at the Royal St George's in preparation for the Open. And I dumped my bike, dumped my clubs, just hopped the fence and just watched him working his way around a few of those holes there before I managed to find my clubs and bike again and pedalled my way back over to Prince's. But the fact it's so close.
Yeah.
Just magnificent golf courses. It's really hard to pick. I mean, you could probably make the best links course in life by picking a few holes from each one of the courses.
Yeah. It's a special part of the world. And I had my long green and stripy Deal socks on as well. Yeah, they've given me the member socks. I did. I had to get the knees out. So yeah, I just wanted to say a huge thank you on the podcast, on record, to James Leah, to Rob Lee at Royal St George's, to Rob and Ali McGurk at Prince's, because they put on such a great show last week. And hopefully, giving them that little plug gets me invited back to the Hagen 54 next year.
I'm thinking you've got a good chance.
Do you like to join me in that occasion?
No, I don't. I'm good. But I'll put in a good word for you.
Other news from the world of golf over this last week. Kurt Kitayama was the winner of the 3M Open, winning by a shot from Sam Stevens. Matt Wallace, by the way, one of the players in a tie for third. Great to see for Matt. On the Saturday, Kurt Kitayama was legitimately on 57 watch. He had 2 holes to play. The 18th was a par 5. A birdie eagle finish would have meant a 57. He actually bogeyed the 17th, birdied the 18th, so it was a mere round of 60. But he did go on to win on the Sunday. On the PJ Tour this week, it is the final event of the regular season, the Wyndham Championship. Championship, the last chance for players to force their way into the top 70 for the playoffs. 70th at the moment is Matti Schmid, 71st Nikolai Højgaard, but also livelihoods at stake because finish outside the top 125 and you are at risk of losing your card. Some big names currently outside that top 125 going into this week. From a Ryder Cup watch point of view, Bob McIntyre, Matt Fitzpatrick and both Højgaard twins all playing this week. But that about does us for today. Thank you very much for your company, Stubbs.
That's my pleasure. I've loved chatting.
And you looking forward to the week?
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I hope the rain stays away. I don't mind a bit of wind though.
Because you're on course all week,
I
right?
am. I'll be hoofing it
So
around.
the rain is your enemy.
It is, because it seems to find a way. No matter how many layers, no matter what you put on, it always finds a way to seep in there.
You're probably just about dried out from Royal Port Rush as well.
That was pretty grim a few times out there. My yardage book didn't make it. It was like I could wrap it around a balloon and make a head shape.
Paper mache.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, a Northern Irish summer for you, what can I say? If you've liked what you've heard or watched today, make sure to give us a follow on Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your pods. While there, please do leave us a review and let us know what you think of the show. Thank you again to Callaway for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you again for your time and see you again next week.